Next.
Yeah.
Members,
Okay,
let's sober up. Let's lower our adrenaline levels. Let's lower our adrenaline levels. We are here to stay. Kuna mahali tunaenda, waheshimiwa. First and foremost, I want to thank you, honorable members, in a very special way. In a very, very special way. The attendance today is superb. Receive much appreciation from myself. I think, Madam Speaker, there comes a time where things cannot be transacted as usual. We saw it coming and we were prepared. Madam Speaker, that is not the first letter that has ever landed in this institution or any other institutions. Letters come, the message is delivered, and the interpretation is quite different. We saw it coming, and I'm saying it without any fear of contradiction, that we saw it coming. Madam Speaker, we are following the precedents of the National Assembly. The County Assembly is not a lesser institution than the National Assembly. The procedures and everything is the same. When this County Assembly came to being, we used the standing orders of the National Assembly and transacted business, legal business. And Madam Speaker, a precedent has already been set in the National Assembly. When a CS is summoned, not even by the General Oversight Committee, by a substantive committee, select committee, that CS appears with immediate effect because it is under a certificate of urgency. Madam Speaker, the officer under discussion today has outrightly proven to this House that he cannot and he has no respect at all for this House. Madam Speaker, allow us to validate. It does not matter whether we will finish this business even tomorrow. Madam Speaker, it is the greatest demeanor for this honorable CEC. And in fact, it's not even honorable. He doesn't deserve that name. He deserves the name of a horrible CEC. Yesterday and the week since these sermons were issued, he has been hovering around in political rallies. We have information even as late as yesterday. He summoned revenue officers at the county headquarters and instructed them to enhance revenue collection. Did he fall sick at night? My Speaker, let me say this without any fear of contradiction. He has sought and prayed for sickness. Whatever you pray for is what you get. Yes. He wishes to be in matter. And because that is what he has prayed for, that is where you will belong. There is the power of the tank. There is the power of the conviction. If he has already convicted of himself of being in hospital, amen, that is where he will belong. Amen. Either today, tomorrow, or for the rest of his life. Madam Speaker, we are speaking about, honorable members, I beg your silence. Madam Speaker, the honorable members seated here are representing more than 1 million people whose hope and trust is under them. Article 1 of the Constitution says this, Madam Speaker. The sovereignty of the Constitution lies directly to the people, and it shall be exercised in the following manners. 1, by the people themselves. 2, by the elected members in the National Assembly and in the County Assembly. That is Article 1 of the Constitution. Not seeing all the other articles of the Constitution. So this is a legitimate body that has got the oversight role and the constitutional role, Madam Speaker, to represent over 1 million residents of Machakos. If an officer who was vetted by this House can ignore a general oversight attendance of this House, Madam Speaker, we don't even need any other arithmetics. In fact, my prayer is, as late or as soon as tomorrow morning, we need to have a sense of motion for that officer. There's no shortcut. There's no negotiation, Madam Speaker. And I can tell you, Madam Speaker, I don't want to go that direction. We have explored all mechanisms. He has been summoned in relevant sectoral committees. He has applied the same theatrics. He has applied the same escapism mechanisms. He has applied the same rat and mice, monkey tricks to try to evade this house, Madam Speaker. It will not end up good with him. And I want to send him that message. So, Madam Speaker, because we have so many speakers lining up, the officer coincidentally did that letter to dupe this house. And Madam Speaker, let me tell you one thing. This is a house of politics. We eat, we drink, we walk, we sleep politics. Yes. All what has happened over the weekend and since the day that this house decided to have a general oversight committee, none of the members around isn't aware of partly of it. There has been so many calls, there has been so many negotiations, there has been so many engagements, and he only chose to go to the hospital. That is where you belong. Madam Speaker, I would request of this house, even if the officer says that he will come on Monday, and if you have listened together carefully, honorable members, the letter says if he will have recovered, kama atakuwa amepona. Madam Speaker, he can run away for days, weeks, months, even years. But the sense of motion will treat him abnormally wherever he is. Correct. Whether receiving medication or enjoying himself, wherever he is enjoying. Madam Speaker, the sense of motion does not stop us from proceeding and doing what is necessary. Madam Speaker, this house will never be treated like a lower house. These honorable members will not be treated like men in the streets. They were brought here by people of integrity. They are men of women of integrity in this house, Madam Speaker. We will not allow this house to be misused any further. Any officer who was vetted by this house must be answerable to this house, because this is where the sovereignty of the people of Machakos County lies. Correct. Finally, Madam Speaker, that letter does not show any commitment at all. And Madam Speaker, I want to request of this house that the officer, because he has said he is on medical leave or whatever language he has used, he should not appear in any office in Machakos County until the said date. And if he chooses to appear tomorrow, Madam Speaker, we will tomorrow convene in the morning and demand to have a general oversight committee in the afternoon, because he has already been seen in office. So the letter does not bind us that we have to wait until Monday so that he can come. So at whatever circumstances, Madam, that when we see or hear the officer has been seen anywhere around the Machakos County government offices, the officer should appear with immediate effect. But that does not stop this house from proceeding with the sense of motion. And by so doing, we will consult. If there's no one to present it, personally, because I sought for the General Oversight Committee, I'm going to prepare the sense of motion. It's a clear indication this officer has outrightly disrespected this honorable house, Madam Speaker. I tend not to agree with the letter in totality, but he has chosen to be where he is.